Anyways, this is why, from my point of view, when we are watching all these people in government, and the reason why we as black people have a brand of being complacent or seen as being complacent is because, like I said, we're at a point of we own this thing type of mentality, which is a wrong mentality, and it's not really correct, because more and more we are kind of seeing that it's owned by the markets and. But when you see people behave like this in government, where it seems like they're kind of detached from their responsibilities, there's just that camaraderie of when they're with the other comrades, they're living in this different world where this thing is ours type of a mentality, and no one can take it away from them type of a mentality. And they don't feel threatened, even though it seems, and it's the reality, that when you check at the polls, they're starting to lose more and more in terms of votership. It's going down, but they're still in this euphoric mind state that we own this thing. And instead of actually realizing that they're going back, they're being pushed back into survival mode, where they should double down and now actually take each other seriously and say, hey guys, we're losing this thing. They are too comfortable, they are too fat now, the bellies, and they just continue because they are in the circle of them, and they're in these WhatsApp groups of themselves, and hey, people are against us. There's a conspiracy, Donald Trump and the DA, all these people are coming after us, which some of it might be true, and it is true actually, some of it. But they just start having this mentality of the world is against us and people hate us, and we've done so much for the country, we've done so much for our people. And when really it's not the case. Yes, they've done stuff, but they didn't do their best. The ANC did not do their best for South Africa. And it's a sad thing to watch them seem so out of touch with reality. When you hear comments like from President Cyril Ramaphosa, where he says, it was a couple of months back, or even last year possibly, when he said he was shocked at the state of Johannesburg. And his home is in Johannesburg, and he attends regular meetings, I think weekly, in Johannesburg at the headquarters of ANC. But for a person to just say he's shocked at the state of Johannesburg, and he's been in government this entire time, in fact, he was in business and then he went into government. But it's speaking to that thing where I'm saying they just have this detached mentality.
A flickering street light, a pothole that swallows a tire, a dry tap, and a gnawing anxiety caused by unemployment. These are the daily realities for millions of South Africans. And they form the backdrop to a dangerous and quietly spreading question. After 30 years of black majority rule, can black people govern effectively? That video clip, that video footage highlights one of podcasters who are asking this question. And let me tell you, I can assure you that this question has seized many black people, young and old alike, whether black people can govern effectively. And to be honest, I don't blame these people for asking this question. I have even heard one seasoned podcaster ask whether the problem of collapsing infrastructure can be attributed to the fact that there's no word in vernacular that is the equivalent of maintenance in English. I have that word in Venda. Uthogomela. And I believe it's there in Uthogomela, in Sesotho, in Tsonga, in Xitsonga. You do have those words. So I think that analysis was and conclusion was unfounded. But all these questions are the symptom of profound unease about the failures, governance failures that we're having to contend with in South Africa. These questions, necessary as they are, they commit a critical error of logic. They are conflating performance of a single political organization, the African National Congress, with the innate ability of an entire race. I have used a provocative text on my thumbnail that Dr. Hendrik Verwoerd would feel vindicated by the ANC. And it is for this very reason that black people are beginning to ask themselves whether the ANC failures are related to skin color. Dr. Verwoerd would feel vindicated. But I want to argue here with facts in this video podcast that black leadership is not the problem, but a carefully engineered, curated, corrupt system of patronage that the ANC deliberately put in place is responsible. It's not the race of the people in power. At the heart of South Africa's governance crisis is not a lack of capability, but a suppression of it through a pervasive system of patronage. Herman Mashaba used to get it right, man. Before he got baptized into the ANC. He used to say, and I just liked what he used to say. He used to say that what we see, the sewage that is flowing, lack of water, service delivery, collapsing infrastructure, are not the result of mismanagement, but they are by design. They are what the ANC has planned and carefully curated it to be. It's by design. The ANC has taken a well-concerted effort to make sure that we are where we are. While the government's official mantra is Patupile, people first, the operating system within the ANC and the state they control runs on an unwritten mission statement, values, and culture. And it's a culture of self-enrichment, rent-seeking, pay-to-play schemes, and the prioritization of insider needs rather than the needs of the public. Insider needs, I mean those who are within this patronage system of corruption. It's a system that runs on contrary mission, culture, and values. The system is fueled by Cadre deployment, which has been about placing loyalists and gatekeepers in strategic levers of power for the sole benefit, personal benefit of the party and the members of the patronage network. In this network, decisions are not guided by merit, efficiency, or public good. No, they are guided by personal benefit and party allegiance. In this system, the culture of corruption, this is the problem with the culture and the system that is toxic. It's like your child. If you fail to discipline your child, you may not suffer from the consequences of the lack of discipline of that child until they mature. Once that child matures, now they can slap you in the face. Now they can demand things and do things that can really make you feel pain. That's when they are now independent. Their actions are now independent of you as the parent. That's when they can inflict damage on you. Same with culture. The culture that the ANC has created has morphed into a monster that has got a life of its own. That where mediocrity is tolerated, theft is rewarded with reshuffles and promotion. It's like in a mafia. It's a real mafia state where when you kill, when you do something evil, you have, it's like you have gone through the rite of passage. You get promotion. This is where self-service is the norm rather than the exception. I don't think the ANC if they decided to stop the corruption and the patronage system, they can stop it because it has taken a life of its own. In this system, meritocracy is anathema. The culture is so potent, so toxic, that it neutralizes even competent officials who can find their way into the system with good intentions. That's what it does. The culture does. A toxic culture does, no matter how good you may be. Remember, the system has not been established for the purpose of delivering. The mission is not to deliver. The mission is to plunder and loot. If you are competent in that system, you are ostracized for refusing to comply, and you are worn down by a value system that is fundamentally geared towards extraction, not delivery. Consequently, municipal tenders for roads, housing, and water are awarded to tenderpreneurs, card-carrying members. I've had that experience. One client once hired me to go and attend tender briefings on their behalf because that person is full-time employed. I didn't know what was going on. He knew because the person was promised tenders. And I was so amazed because I found myself having to rush to a Soshanguve branch, ANC branch. That's the instruction that I got. Go and make sure that, remember, I'm a service provider. I then realized what was going on. Go and join and seek ANC membership for this particular person. That's what happened. So it's real. It was with Public Works. The one under delay. Those kind of things, which tells you don't get a job. You don't get an opportunity unless you are a qualified member of the patronage network system, which includes being an ANC card-carrying members. And the goal of such tenderpreneurs that are appointed, remember, they've got to play by the rules. The goal is not quality, it's to profit. The result is shoddy work at best, or at worst, a ghost project where public money is paid but no service is rendered. The same logic applies to public sector employment, where opportunities go to the connected, to those who are connected, relatives, friends, you name it. or those willing to pay a bribe to be part of the patronage network. This creates a cruel irony where the state, the largest employer, often sidelines the most capable candidates, both black and white. Some people think that, sometimes white compatriots think that what is happening is to the benefit of the black people. I want to argue that black people are the hardest hit by what is going on. We are the hardest hit because most of us depend on public institutions. Both black and white capable candidates are marginalized in favor of the connected and compliant few. So the ANC system, therefore, does not represent a yardstick for black excellence. It does not even represent or promote black excellence. It actively marginalizes black excellence. But if you look away, outside the ANC's patronage system, you'll find black excellence, where the mission is noble, where the culture is conducive, and where the values are righteous and underpin a system or institution. Black excellence is thriving. To judge black ability based on this corrupted output is to ignore the overwhelming evidence of excellence in environments where the right values are nurtured. Consider Professor Chilizima Rwara, the rector of the United Nations University and an accomplished artificial intelligence engineer. Look to the track where athletes like Akani Simbine and Bayanda Walaza continuously make South Africans proud. And these people demonstrate world-class discipline and performance. Remember the leadership of Siya Kolisi, who captained the Springboks. You can also look at Lungi Ngidi in cricket. These are people who, when they are in the right institutions, they deliver the goods. In innovation, think of the CSIR team, including researchers like Sandile Ngobo Mapolova, who developed cutting-edge thermal imaging technology. Consider two Limpopo school learners, who out of nothing developed an app for a mere 700. That is excellence. God is an equal opportunity giver. He is not compromised. He has given to us. You can tell me of failing, majority of African countries that are failing. They are failing because of wrong culture and the decision that is made by those leaders to fail. I once had a discussion with one guy from the DRC, and we were searching for the right way to discuss to castigate African leadership, and he came up with the word wicked. And I said, yes, unfortunately, it defines our leaders. They deliberately ignore to do that which they know is right and choose to do the wrong things to the detriment of the majority of citizens. That's what we are dealing with, ethical leadership. But again, consider the fact that how long did it took the West and Europe to get to where they are? It took a long time. And I don't want to justify. I'm impatient for change. That is why I'm making this video podcast. I'm not saying these things to justify what is happening with African countries. But my main point is to say that what the system that the ANC has carefully curated, engineered, doesn't represent the ability of black people. It doesn't represent us. It's what I've just outlined to you, chronicled the excellence that you find outside of black excellence that you find outside the ANC system of corruption. It's not just an exception, but they are exemplars of the fact that where the mission is right, the culture and the system and the and values promote meritocracy, black people do thrive. Now, I want to conclude by cautioning against simplistic generalizations and stereotypings because they are misleading. Consider celebrated. If you don't know this guy, go and check him out. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's an American astrophysicist. He argued that Africans are often victims of generalized stereotypings. Neil deGrasse Tyson contends that the African genome is the most diverse you can find on the planet. It is in Africa where you find the tallest person and the shortest person. It is in Africa where you find the fastest person, consider the track and field, and the slowest person are to be found in Africa. This is a continent where you find the most intelligent person and the dumbest and the least intelligent person on the planet. You find the most beautiful and at the same time the ugliest person on the planet. So he was using these almost outrageous examples to underline the fact that it is not wise to generalize. It's intellectual laziness to generalize about Africans because the African genome is the most diverse you can find in the world. Let me give you an example. If you want to challenge me about the intelligence of capability of Africans, Google Yinka Oduwole. Yinka Oduwole, I think she's Nigerian. This lady, I think she's some IT, she's an engineer or something, highly qualified, highly intelligent person. She studied in Oxford among many other institutions, Oxford in London, and in a class of all races in the world, she came best. And I think there are many examples. And the argument here is not to say one race. God is an equally opportunity giver. Black people are equally gifted, and they can proudly hold hands with other races and build a good South Africa. We have it within us. We must not allow the ANC's corruption to define us as black people. In conclusion, it is not wise to reduce this breathtaking diversity of Africans to a monolith of failure based on the ANC's performance. It is illogical. It plays into the hands of racist stereotypes about inferiority of black people. Where Africa is failing because leaders have made the decision that they want to fail because of wickedness, which we must pray against, which we must fight against, as I'm doing now. In conclusion, the debate has to shift. Patriots, we must stop asking whether black people can govern and start demanding a system that allows competent and ethical people of all races to thrive. The issue is not the color of one's skin, but the content of one's character. And when I say all people, I'm not saying we must have representativity because I've mentioned, we have competent black people across. A capable black person must be able to go into a position that they deserve. A capable white person should be able to go and play their equal role in building the country. The same everywhere. There's no justification for lack of diversity because we have the talent in South Africa. That I'm prepared to argue. People should not be judged based on their skin color, but on the content of their character. And the design of the system must be such that it allows these people to thrive, people with good character and qualifications. The ANC's patronage network is the antithesis of good governance. Judging black people's potential by its corrosive standards, the corrosive standards of the ANC, is a profound injustice to millions of capable black South Africans ready to build a better nation, if only given the chance. Let me know what you think. My point is, the ANC, ironically, and a liberation movement that defines itself as waging an anti-colonialist struggle, ironically, they are ticking all the right boxes of Dr. Hendrik Verwoerd. They are behaving exactly as racist stereotypes would expect black people to behave, and it's very unfortunate, and it is causing a psychological damage to black nation. So the ANC must sit and reflect about the profound damage they are doing to this country. It's not only material, it's also psychological. They claim to be against racism, but they go out and behave the same way racist stereotyping would caricature a black person. Please, if this resonates with you, subscribe, share, and comment. If only the content resonates with you. Thank you. Thank you.